Hey everybody, how you doing? I got an apple. Do you want an apple? You can't have the apple because it's my apple. I'm not going to eat the apple. That would be rude, just to eat an apple at the beginning of a video. I'll eat it at the end of the video, okay? You got to sit here and wait through the entire video, and if you're good, at the end, I will eat this apple. Okay. Also, I'm wearing my Penguins shirt because I just threw it on when I was shoveling, so I just have it. Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, you see the Steeler game last night? They lost. It sucked, but yeah, we're a sport commentary channel now. All right, so who's the new quarterback on the Steelers going to be now that Roethlisberger's out? Okay, now let's just get to it. Let's get to it. This is not the kind of video to be doing the tangent crap in the intro, all right? There was a lot of stuff that happened in the last chapter, all right? We need to cover this, okay? Chapter 1037 mainly was about Kaido getting completely sloshed and fighting against Luffy. That was really cool. But at the end of the chapter, that really had nothing to do with the fact of Kaido getting drunk. We had a scene at Marijois. We saw the Gorosei. They were talking about some stuff. And then we saw Zunisha, giant elephant Zunisha, approaching Wano, okay? In all of its Zunisha-ness, all right? And so, while that was going on, the Gorosei were discussing a mysterious devil fruit. Ooh, a devil fruit that hasn't awakened for centuries. Ooh, and a devil fruit that is so, I mean, you can't say just so powerful. I mean, it might be powerful, but it might be like something else. But for whatever reason, the government of days past decided to change the name of the fruit to something else so people would not know about its significance, I guess. So I guess that kind of implies that if the government never changed the name of the fruit, that if people saw what it was, they would either know immediately how strong it was or the relevance to the Void Century. So in that capacity, I'm actually kind of leaning on it being a very powerful fruit, you know, because in the review, I use the example of like the reality fruit. If you eat it, you can warp reality, right? If a fruit like that really existed and it was written in the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, like the reality fruit, people would be like, holy crap, that's really powerful. I want to get my hands on that, right? So that would make sense why they would change its name. Also, some kind of fruit that might allow you to, like, manipulate the fabric of time, but I don't know about that in the One Piece world. Oh, wait! So we'll be getting to that in a moment as well. But first, we have a few things we need to address, okay? Because I was seeing a lot of comments and a lot of other people talking about this, and there seems to be some baseline confusion about a few things. So let's just lock that in first, and then we'll move on to what the Gorosei were talking about. Okay, the first big point of contention is, how do devil fruit names work? As in, how does the person that eats the fruit learn about the name of said fruit, okay? And I saw a lot of people quoting SBS from volume 45. Great volume, covers the post-Enies Lobby arc. You got Garp there. You got, you know, Luffy-Dragon relationship revealed. Shanks makes an appearance. It ends with Ace on Bonaro Island dueling Blackbeard. Great volume. Go pick it up. Anyway, I'm just going to read this SBS question here. Hey, Oda, I got a question. It's about the devil fruit. During the time with Kaku and Khalifa of CP9, they said they didn't know anything about the devil fruit until they ate it. But during Luffy's time, how did they already know that it was called the Gumu Gumu no Mi? Please tell me. Tell me now. Please tell me. All right, so this person was very, very serious. You know, that's the ambition you got in a real One Piece fan right there. You just go up to Oda and, like, violently shake him, like, tell me about the fruits! So, this is Oda's articulate response. Well, I will go more into detail about the devil fruit in the main story at a later time. This volume came out, like, over 12 years ago, so I'm just throwing it out there. It's along that with, like, oh yeah, a certain scientist named Vegapunk will appear in the story. Yeah, that was, like, 13 years ago, but whatever, okay. But there's a sort of identification manual for devil fruits. That would be the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia. It has information about the name and powers of each fruit. But there are a few that even have pictures. There are a few that have pictures to go along with it. The Gumu Gumu no Mi was one of these fruits, but not all of them. It's not a complete book, is what he's saying. You know, some of the fruits have incomplete entries. Some might just have a name. Some might not have a name at all, but maybe the fruit's effects. Some might have pictures. Some might not. So the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia is by no means a definitive encyclopedia of every devil fruit in the story, obviously. And then you have fruits like Toki's fruit, the Toki Toki no Mi, that takes a really, really long time to recycle back into the flow of things. So, you know, that might not be in the book at all. So Kaku and Khalifa had to eat their fruits to find out what abilities they had, and then they would go look for the name afterwards. That's how that conversation went. All right, so that's interesting. That's interesting. And that also might be a translation thing because you could see how in a second that could get confused. Because I always assumed, not assumed, I remember reading at one point, and this might be the Mandela effect, that when you eat a devil fruit, you instantly know what the name of the fruit is. Like, the fruit kind of psychically communicates with you in some way, because the idea that devil fruits might have some sentience or awareness of themselves, that's not that ridiculous. There's even that theory, well, it's more of a theory or rumor in the One Piece world that, like, actual devils embody them, and maybe they do, maybe they don't, not really sure. But the idea is that when you eat the fruit, you know the name of the fruit, like, instantly, okay? And the reason I always had why that made sense was because look at how many devil fruit users are in One Piece, and they all name their fruits and their abilities in the same exact scheme. So Luffy's techniques are Gumu Gumu no techniques. Buggy's techniques are Bara Bara no Mi techniques, and the list goes on and on and on. Yeah, there are examples of characters that don't, like, name every single... Like, Doflamingo did not name every single technique he had after Ito, but there are so many characters in this series that name their fruits in the exact same style, implying that there is some sort of universal standard there. Even characters like Kinemon, Shinobu, Kanjuro, that ate their fruits in Wano, and they did... Well, no, not Kanjuro, because he had his fruit given to him by Orochi, and Orochi knew what devil fruits were, but like, maybe Raizo, for instance, okay? They ate their fruits, and they just assumed it was some kind of sorcery, some kind of magic. They didn't even know what devil fruits were, okay? But they still named their abilities with the double name, the same as, like, Gumu Gumu, Bara Bara, you know, whatever it is, you know? So that implies that when you, at least to me, when you eat the fruit, it, like, communicates with you and lets you know, like, what the name is. And that might just be a translation thing for the Viz version, okay? But I admit it created some confusion. At least that's the way I go with it, because I feel like if you had to look up the name yourself, what if the name isn't in the book? Then I guess you could just name it whatever, right? And why would everybody stick to that naming scheme of, like, the double names? So it seems to imply that there's, like, a baseline for that. Like, when you eat it, you learn that double word, and that's the one that it is, okay? But I admit that's a little confusing. Here's something. So because Zunisha showed up at Wano, at the same time the Gorosei were talking about this mysterious devil fruit, the obvious implication to that is Zunisha has something to do with this devil fruit. Now, whether that be Zunisha itself is the user of this devil fruit, or the devil fruit is present on Zou, so maybe one of the minks have it, or maybe not one of the minks have it, but maybe it's growing in the whale tree or in the forest, or it might have a connection to the minks who also have a connection to the Kozuki clan, so maybe it's something to do with that. Or, and I just want to throw this out there because I was thinking about this as an option too, it might just be a fake out, okay? Because Oda could totally do that shit, and do not think that he couldn't, all right? Where he throws the Gorosei at you talking about this mysterious devil fruit, and then Zunisha in the final frame, and it's like, Oda himself did not specify that there was a connection between the two. It's not like the Gorosei were sitting in the room of authority and being like, what? Zunisha? Giant elephant? Arriving at Wano? It must be that devil fruit. No, 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 no. That's not how the conversation went, all right? It was just them having this conversation as Zunisha showed up, all right? Now, you could always say, well, because of the themes of the story, you know, he's like trying to draw a parallel between these two scenes. Yeah, maybe. In fact, I think it's probably likely, but at the end of the day, Oda could always be there like, I'm just going to fake him out because everybody's going to think it's going to involve Zunisha. It actually has nothing to do with Zunisha. It's a devil fruit that we haven't even seen yet. You know, like, it could be something like that. But anyway, one of the questions, I think Roger brought this up, was that if Zunisha is a devil fruit user, then how would you explain Zunisha, you know, being in the ocean constantly? Like, it's constantly walking through the ocean, okay? And that brings up an interesting point, and I'll mention that here. So this has been stated before, that when a devil fruit user walks in standing water, they are weakened, but there is a limit to when that actually starts, okay? So, for example, if Luffy was walking in ankle-deep water, like a puddle or something, Can't imagine that would really cause him any discomfort. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I highly doubt it. It's like Luffy can play in like a little puddle, like an inch or two of water, and I think he'll be fine, all right? Now, when the water starts getting up to like over knee high, and then waist high, and then like up to your chest, that's when Luffy would start to feel very weakened and eventually might even pass out, okay? Then again, it also goes by your overall strength, because remember way back when they were at Alabasta, when Luffy touched the sea prism on the bars of the cage that Crocodile had them, stuck in, Luffy felt weak right away. He like touched the bars and he was like, oh, whoa, I feel really drained all of a sudden, right? It had a negative effect on him. Look at Jack. When Jack got knocked into the ocean by Zunisha. Now, Jack is a full fishman, so he was able to breathe underwater, but even though he could not move, because he's a devil fruit user, he didn't really seem to be in any pain or discomfort. He didn't really seem to be weakened at all. He was still conscious. He was just underwater and he couldn't move. So I guess he was weakened, but he wasn't weakened in the same way Luffy was. So I would imagine, like, if you get strong enough, like if you eat your vitamins and you train hard enough, right, even if you get knocked into the water as a devil fruit user, yeah, you won't be able to breathe unless you're a fishman or you're a member of the merfolk or whatever, but you're not going to be as like, Jack was not under the ocean like, oh, I feel so weak, I can barely stay conscious, oh. No, he was just under the water that was like, man, this sucks, I can't move. Somebody pull me out already, damn it! That was Jack, okay? So I would imagine it goes with strength. But in the case with Zunisha, because Zunisha is a long-legged elephant, the majority of Zunisha's body is actually above sea level, okay? So kind of look at it like the water level of the entire ocean, because Zunisha is like 35 kilometers tall. The ocean only goes down 10,000 meters, so that's a little bit less than a third of Zunisha's own body. And its main body, like, it's only its legs are under the ocean. And a good chunk of its legs are above the ocean as well. So from Zunisha's perspective, it might only have it up to, like, its knees. All right, and in which case, like, maybe Zunisha might feel weakened a little bit, might feel the effects of the ocean if Zunisha is, in fact, a devil fruit user. But overall, I could still imagine that it could walk and it could move. Maybe if you take Zunisha out of the water, maybe it would feel more energized and it could run faster. Who knows? Also, look at San Juan Wolf. San Juan Wolf is a giant. And there was that scene where after Marineford, he was hanging out on that island of fire, and it seemed like he was just sitting outside in the ocean, like going up to like here. And I imagine like, okay, he's probably like not standing. He might be sitting on like the ocean floor. And obviously when you get closer to an island, obviously the ocean floor goes up higher until you reach the surface of the island. So I imagine in this scene right here, San Juan Wolf was probably just like sitting, on the bottom of the beach, just like, how you guys doing? Ow, a fish just bit me on the ankle. This sucks. He's probably just like sitting like that or something in the ocean. I don't know why he would be doing that, because he is a devil fruit user and it would weaken him. But, San Juan Wolf doesn't seem to be like, the sharpest knife in the crayon box. You know what I mean? So let's just roll with that. Okay. So with that being said, though, let's talk about what devil fruit this could actually be. All right, so I'm going to throw out the Toki Toki no Mi. All right, and I don't think that should really surprise anybody because it's literally a devil fruit that has the ability to manipulate time. Also, in the review, I mentioned when the Gorosei were talking about that fruit hasn't awakened in centuries, I was a little bit confused about that. I'm like, okay, do they mean that that fruit has not been eaten in centuries, that form of awakened? Or did they mean that the fruit has not been awakened as in the power did not awaken, like with like Doflamingo awakening his fruit, right? But then somebody else said, well, wait, Matt, there's actually even a third possibility there. What if it just hasn't been in circulation for that long? So that made me think of the Toki Toki no Mi because of the nature of that fruit. It allows the user to jump into periods of time, apparently there's no limit on that. Like, Toki could jump like a week into the future, a year into the future, 20 years into the future, 500 years in the future. She could do any of that. Well, because she does that, the fruit's not going to get reincarnated for centuries upon centuries, okay? So I'm just saying that. And then I started to think, I'm like, well, wait a second, okay. Let's say the Toki Toki no Mi was well known of back during the Void Century, or there was like, not even then, maybe just like the time of like when the world government started taking over the world, the idea of a devil fruit that can manipulate time existed as a rumor. but the Gorosei did not want that to be known, that there is a devil fruit called the time fruit, because people would be looking for that all over the place. People would want that power to manipulate time, even if they didn't know it's not the ability to go back in time and change things, it's only the ability to go forward in time. Still, that seems like a fruit a lot of people would want to have. So the idea is they might have named the Toki no Mi something really redundant or useless. You know, like I said in the review, it's like the blue fruit. Like, you eat this devil fruit, it gives you the ability to turn things blue. You know, and it's like, that's not a very useful ability. That's not really overpowered or anything like that. I mean, if you're an artist, it might be useful, but other than that, it's not useful. So if you give it like a really crappy name, like the jacket fruit. Oh my god, what if it was the jacket fruit? What if Kelly Funk has awakened to the true power of the jacket fruit, and the world government is afraid because Kelly can now turn he can put the entire world inside of his jacket. That would be terrifying. But no, it's probably not that. But like, no, the government would probably give the fruit a really lame name when it really has a really overpowered ability, so nobody would want it, okay? And so that's the general idea. So I could see that with the Toki no Mi, definitely. But yeah, I mean, like, if it is, let's say they were talking about the fruit, like, not properly awakening, like with Doflamingo and Katakuri awakening their fruit, okay? That could imply that people have eaten the fruit many times. It's just that they're not worried about it because it hasn't awakened maybe since the Void Century, okay? Now, what fruit could that be? Well, I have no idea. I guess you could always say the Gamu no Mi, because that was mentioned in this chapter. Not this chapter, but this arc. You know, the relevance of the Gamu no Mi with Who's Who. Also, I mean, if we are talking about the Gamu no Mi here, this could really set things up being like Luffy has awakened his devil fruit. And I feel like Luffy, at this point, should awaken his devil fruit in the fight with Kaido, just because Law and Kid both awakened their powers against Big Mom, or they've awakened them before that. But I could see Luffy, you know, pulling out his final attack as an awakening of his Gamu no Mi. The only thing there is, if you are talking about the Gamu no Mi, if that was the fruit that the Gorosei were discussing, that really has nothing to do with Zunisha, which makes me think that Oda, he could always do the fake out plans, so don't disregard that. But if we're going along with some connection with Zunisha, and it's like, okay, let's say, like, one possibility is that Zunisha might be Joy Boy, Zunisha might be an ancient giant, Zunisha might just be some human that consumed a devil fruit. Maybe a devil fruit that allows them, like a mythical zone that allows them to turn into a elephant. You know, there's this elephant that apparently has, like, the world on its back, like in Indian lore, okay? Because awakened zones, I mean, we've seen them with the demon guards, but this would be a mythical zone. This would be an awakened mythical zone devil fruit, which we really haven't seen that much of. I mean, yeah, you could argue Sengoku is awakened, you could argue Kaido is awakened, or they might not be. The criteria for awakening a mythical zone might be very difficult. It might be different from awakening a regular zone or an ancient zone, okay? I mean, it's totally possible that, you know, Sengoku and Kaido might have already awakened given their strength and how old they are, but, like, I'm just saying, like, it might be really, really hard to awaken a fruit and, like, the mythical zone. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, there might be a devil fruit that allows you to turn into this long-limbed elephant, but it's not a big deal because it's just like, you know, you're a regular elephant, you're maybe just a little bit bigger, but then he awakened the power and then it's like this size of the elephant, right? And it just wasn't heard of for centuries, right? But here's another thing with that I was thinking of, like, why it isn't Zunisha, why it wasn't like somebody that ate the fruit that turns them into the giant elephant. It's because, yes, Zunisha might be a phantom island. You know, it might be an island it's not really an island, it's an elephant. You know, it's not charted on any map, you know, you can't find it with a log pose. But the Gorosei have to know about its existence. I find it very unlikely that the Gorosei just don't know what Zunisha is. Like, they have to have, like, at least reports every once in a while throughout the centuries that there's a giant elephant stomping around the New World, right? And that's where all the minks live, okay? So the idea for the Gorosei to be like, it hasn't awakened for centuries, implies that, like, you know, oh, if somebody ate this mythical elephant devil fruit, that we haven't seen it for centuries. It's like, Zunisha Zunisha had to have at least been spotted a few times by government ships, Cypher Pole, Marines. Like, somebody has had to have at least seen that thing in the last, 800, 900 years. All right, so, that's just the thing. Like, the government probably should know about Zunisha's existence. It's just they might not be able to locate its exact location because it's always moving, but they should know that it's out there in the New World walking around, and the minks live on its back. Like, they should at least know that much information, right? Another idea is because Zunisha and the minks are connected to the Kozuki clan, and as the case with, like, Zunisha communicating with Momo, and that's another thing, too. The reason Zunisha's at Wano could just be when Momo was, like, communing with Zunisha with Inuarashi while they were still at Zou, while Luffy and everybody were in Totland. They stayed at Zou for a little bit to talk to Zunisha, and then they left to go to Wano. Well, that could have been a thing where maybe Momo was communicating with Zunisha. Zunisha might have explained its life story to Momo, and then Momo was giving it the order of, like, hey, I want you to go to Wano. We're going to go to Wano first. Now, Zunisha moves very slow compared to, like, boats and everything like that. So, Momo was like, okay, we're going to go to Wano to help, rescue everybody, to liberate it, get rid of Orochi and Kaido, and avenge my father. And Momo said to Zunisha, I want you to slowly make your way to Wano as well. And it took a while. It took several weeks, several weeks for Zunisha to get there, plus the weeks that they were waiting on the Fire Festival. So it took a long time, probably like better part of a month for Zunisha to get there, but it has finally arrived at Wano. Okay, so that could be the reason Zunisha's there right now. Most of the minks that are combative are already there on the island, like the Musketeers and the Forest Guardians. There would be more minks in Zou that have probably, maybe they're fortified, they're ready to go, they're ready to fight, who knows. But also, this is interesting why they would do that, because the road poneglyph, the thing that, like, Kaido and Big Mom want, is in the Whale Forest, which is on Zou, which is on the back of Zunisha. So it's a bit of a gamble here. You have to wonder, like, if Momo did order Zunisha to go to Wano, why did he order it to do that? Maybe Zunisha actually spoke to Momo like, I need you to order me to go to Wano. I can't go to Wano by myself. I need you to order me to go there, but if you order me there, I can herald in the arrival of Joy Boy, or I can do something cool. You just gotta trust me. And Momo's like, oh, okay. Well, begin to walking to Wano. And Zunisha's like, yay, finally! How long's this gonna take? Oh, probably about a month or so. I'm not a young elephant anymore. All right, well, we're just gonna take a boat. We'll meet you there. Okay. Well, it could be something like that, where maybe Zunisha explained to Momo, because I don't think Momo... I mean, if Momo just came up with that idea on his own, I feel like Inuarashi or some of the minks might have spoken up and be like, yeah, but is it a good idea to basically take our entire nation up to Wano, which is going to be a war zone? Is that really wise? Is that a smart idea? Is that a good idea to also take the road poneglyph, the thing that we've safeguarded for centuries, to the place that Kaido and Big Mom both really, really want that and might get stolen? That's not a good idea, right? So I think if Zunisha decided on it, it would be a different story, right? Okay. And then there's the implication of, like, is Zunisha intelligent and capable of speech just because it's like a wise old elephant? Or is it because it's not really an elephant, because it's like an ancient giant, or Joy Boy himself, or something of that nature, or somebody connected to the Will of D? Who knows? Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's most of the stuff I wanted to discuss. I went through all of these devil fruits, guys. I went through a lot of them, right? And I'm just like, okay, what devil fruit? Because here's the thing, like, most of the devil fruits in the story we've already seen, because when we see a devil fruit, we usually don't see the fruit, we see the power being exhibited by the user, right? So I'm looking down this list, and I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing, like, Toki's fruit, that might have relevance, Luffy's Gamu Gamu no Mi, that might have relevance, but most of these fruits, like, unless it's like a Logia, and it's like, okay, it's a special Logia fruit that might give you the ability, like, let's say, I don't know, like this, it wouldn't be the Mera Mera no Mi, but let's just say the Mera Mera no Mi has the ability to control fire. Okay, and so the government just called it the fire fruit, or the flame fruit. But let's say, like, the awakening of Ace's or Sabo's Maramaranomi would actually be something even greater than just mere fire. It would be literally the ability to, like, harness nuclear radiation from the sun, you know, on a level compared to the sun that could possibly destroy the entire planet, right? That would make sense why they would just not call it the sun fruit. They would just call it the flame fruit, right? I'm not saying that was the fruit they were discussing. I'm just giving you an idea, like, Logias are already really, really powerful. So my best guess on this, honestly, if it's not the Toki no Mi, and if it's not the Gumu no Mi, because those are relevant to the plot right now, it might very well be a mythical zone that has some crazy power, and you would probably be able to hide the true nature of a mythical zone fairly easily, right? Like, you could call Kaido's fruit, well, even the way Kaido's fruit is named is a little weird, right? Because Kaido's fruit is not the dragon fruit, it's the Ua no Mi, the fish fruit. So maybe, you know, they were talking about Kaido's fruit the whole time. You know, Kaido is a mythical zone, so it'd be easy to hide it. Like, well, we're not going to call the fruit the dragon fruit because that might make people think that it's a dragon, even though they call all of the dinosaur fruits dragon fruits. But that's because dinosaur and dragon are very similar in Japanese, like the way that they're actually written. So there might be an excuse for that in translation. But dragon would be written as like an actual Chinese dragon. They might not want the people to know that it's an actual Chinese dragon because dragons used to exist and the Tenryubito probably owned them and they probably lived at God Valley and they eventually all died out, right? Ryuma slayed a dragon and everything like that. So it's like we don't want people to know that dragons are still around for whatever reason. Like maybe the Gorosei wanted to keep that secret for whatever cause, and so they decided just to rename it the Ua or the fish fruit, okay? And so maybe Kaido knows what its real name is, because Kaido was not the one that said the name of the fruit. Big Mom was the one that said the name of the fruit. So maybe Big Mom found the Ua no Mi, and maybe it was in the encyclopedia or something, and Big Mom was like, mama, this is the Ua no Mi, the fish fruit. And so she gave it to Kaido. Kaido ate it. Maybe Kaido knows the real name of it, the Chinese dragon fruit, like the dragon no Mi, like Ryu no Mi, model as your dragon, but nobody else knows about it, right? And so maybe that's why the government kept it a secret. It could be Kaido's fruit as well. But I would say Logia or Mythical Zone make the most sense. I mean, it could be a Paramecia, but it would probably be a if it wasn't the Toki or the Gumu, it's probably a Paramecia that we've never encountered before in the story. That's at least what I'm thinking, okay? Or it could always be Raizo's scroll fruit, because I made a video about that last week, and that's freaking OP as hell, so it could be that as well. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about it before. That's the video, but it's not the video because, well, we have two things to do. First off, I got to eat this apple, but we're not at the end yet. Next thing is, we're moving on to the next installment of Animal Facts. That's right. We had a good run with Dinosaur Facts. I could keep them moving for a while, but we got to move through the rest of this alphabet if I want to get done by the time I'm 50 years old, okay? So, we have A, B, C, D. I mean, you've heard of Ant Facts, and you've heard of Bat Facts, and you've heard of Capybara Facts, and you've heard of Dinosaur Facts. But are you prepared? Is your body ready for the titanic awesomeness that is Elephant Facts? Okay, we're doing Elephant Facts, which is, I think, very appropriate considering that we were talking about Zunisha in this video. And elephants, I mean, like, come on, guys. Elephants are like one of the most badass animals on this planet. Like, in the time-honored words of Samuel L. Jackson's character Jules from the hit movie Pulp Fiction, which is probably my favorite movie of all time, they got personality. Personality goes a long way. Granted, he was talking about dogs in Pulp Fiction, but elephants have personality too, and that goes a long way, all right? They are awesome creatures, and I would love to talk about them today, all right? So, elephants, let's start simple, I guess. There are 3 species of elephant that live on this planet right now, which is interesting when I looked that up, because I always thought there were just 2. I remember reading something when I was a kid, it might have been a zoo book, remember zoo books, that there were only 2 species of elephant, the African bush elephant and the Asian elephant, and I thought that was all the species of elephant, but no, we now also have the African forest elephant, which is a little smaller than the African bush elephant. The Asian elephant is as well. The largest land animal, if you want to be specific, is the African bush elephant, okay? And my god, are they epic, okay? So for the first episode of Animal Facts, I usually just go through really basic stuff about them. So largest land animal for one. I wanted to bring up that the size of their ears is different depending on if you're talking about the Asian elephant or the African elephant. And I guess the idea is that the African bush elephant's ears kind of resemble the continent of Africa, whereas the ears of the Asian elephant represent the subcontinent of India. All right, so that's a little interesting thing there. It's probably less evolution and more just humans like pareidolia just looking at it, but still, that's very interesting there. Mostly they stay, the cows stay in a group with the babies and they raise them, and then males usually go off after they hit puberty to go off with other males or live solitary lives. The bulls do. And we're going to be getting more into that because I read a lot about how elephants mate, and it's really weird. So we'll get into that in another episode, though. Let's see here. When it comes to the Asian elephants, their backs are usually convex or level, whereas the African bush elephants are more concave. And their closest relative, which is extinct, not around anymore, is the mastodon. So I guess we could talk about that. Mastodon! So that's, Zach from Power Rangers, or Adam from Power Rangers, who's Johnny Young Bosch, who plays Ichigo. So it all comes back to anime at one point or another. Yeah, and I just also want to just bring up they're very, very intelligent. But we'll get more into the intelligence of elephants as we go about through this story. If you have any elephant facts, let me know. Yeah, we're doing this. Elephant facts! Okay, I gotta add that to the channel banner. For those of you astute viewers of my channel, you've noticed that on the channel banner on the main page, I add different animals whenever I do a new episode of Animal Facts. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but, well, I do. That was a good apple. I'm gonna put like chapters down below, like the intro, and then the bulk of the video where I'm talking about like the devil fruits and stuff. And then I'll do a chapter for elephant facts, and then I'll just do the chapter where I'm eating the apple, which you're in right now. Tekking eats an apple. This is Paul's pounding excitement right here, right? Yeah. These are Gala apples. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, they're okay. They're better than Red Delicious. I hate Red Delicious apples. I like a tartness to my apple, So Granny Smiths are always a go-to. I love Yellow Delicious or Golden Delicious. Those are really good as well. Red apples, I'm usually not a fan. Like there's like a sweet apple variant. It's sweeter than this. I don't know what they're called, but those are really good. Yeah. What's your favorite kind of apple? Let me know your apple preference in the comment section down below. Man, we're going to have devil fruit facts down there. We're going to have elephant facts down there. We're going to have people suggesting apples. That comment section's going to be crazy. So, studio's coming along nicely. You might have noticed that oh, that made it even worse. Hold on. You might have noticed over here, I took out some books. So that's where Naruto was. So I didn't really care for Naruto, so I just shot all of them to the moon. I'm just kidding. No, I got another bookcase upstairs because of all the books and manga I have. I think I finally got all that squared away, though. Yesterday, I was actually going through all my fan mail that I've gotten over the years. All the people that sent me manga, DVDs, anime, video games, all that stuff, thank you. I actually finally have a place now to keep it. Because for years and years, like, I'd have boxes in my garage that were people like sending me fan mail from like 2015, 2016. Like I just had nowhere to keep it. So I just had to keep everything in the boxes. But now I have a place to store everything. I have an idea for, there's a room upstairs. I have 3 bedrooms in this house. So I have my main bedroom and then my guest bedroom. And my uncle's staying with me right now. So that's actually where he's staying. But then I have a 3rd bedroom, right? It's not that big. It has a closet though. And, I kind of want to change that into my little Japanese themed room where I can get like a kotatsu, like a Japanese kotatsu, and get some decorations and get like some ukiyo-e paintings on the wall. Maybe paint. I was even thinking about painting a image of a cherry blossom tree on the wall in there too. So that might look cool. And then that'll be the room right now where all my video games, all my anime and manga are upstairs. So that's an idea. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed me eating this apple. I should start an ASMR channel. I should do a sport commentary channel and an ASMR channel. Yeah. Why am I even going to put this in the video? This is so stupid. This is so stupid what I'm doing right now. Oh well. It's cool. I won't add on an extra ad either. I could be like, oh man, I'm going to add on like 7 ads on this video and like 3 of them are just me eating an apple. Usually go 3 or 4. Alright. I think I'm good. You guys have a good day. Have a good one. This is Tekking signing out. Apple a day keeps the doctor away.